Tara Marsh, the Global Head of Content at Wunderman. I am delighted to be here at CES and to have a chance to speak with Gail from the ARF.
Speak about your path and your career path.
So I don't know if you know, because I'm not sure if this was actually written on my bio, that one of the reasons I was able to move as I have done through WPP is because I was on a program that they have called the MBA Fellowship Program.
No, I didn't know that.
Which Martin might have spoken about at some point. It's a fantastic initiative where they bring in 3 to 5 people each year, post-MBA, and move them around 3 different operating companies with 1 year in each operating company. And it's really a baptism by fire. You get thrown in at a fairly senior level because you come with a lot of experience already,
yes,
but normally from other industries. And the idea is really this right brain, left brain, bring talent into our space who wouldn't ordinarily have come into this space. So my background was more what you would call left brain, working somewhere like Bain, management consulting. My undergrad degree is economics, so a lot of numbers. Normally, someone on that path keeps going on that path and doesn't end up shifting into marketing. So the program is really designed for bringing people like that who may actually have some latent right brain tendencies into the space. And I found out about it when I was doing my MBA. I had already decided I wasn't going to return to management consulting, but it was a gift to me to join that program with WPP.
How about failure? Any failures along the way?
Well, actually, my number one
and what's
failure,
your philosophy about failure?
To just keep trying. So with Bain, they rejected me first time round. I applied to Sydney, to Paris, and to Boston. And I was living in London at that point, having just finished university in the UK. I was like, where in the world should I go? Those 3 cities sound fun. I'm going to have kind of 3 bites at the cookie. I'm going to apply to these 3 different offices. The Paris office picked it up first. And I went to interview in Paris. The interview was in French. My French is quite good. I mean, I would argue at points in my life it's been fluent, but not really for a business case study interview. That was challenging for me. So I'm sat in this interview, and I was so worried about my French that I only said things that I knew were perfect in French, which meant there was a whole bunch of stuff.
You filtered everything.
Yeah, I didn't say a lot of things. So the feedback then comes saying, Tara, it was great meeting you. Your French is perfect. This is not to do with your language abilities, but we really didn't think that you were able to crack the case study, so we're going to stop at this point. So I said, okay, can I make a plea to have one more go in English? Because although you said my French was perfect, it actually really did hinder me in the interview more than I think you realize. Please give me a go in English. And they said, okay, you're going to interview in London. You get one more shot. We'll see how it goes. That interview went really, really well. And they said, okay, now you have to pick which office you want your final interview in. I said, Sydney. So they put me on a plane to Sydney. And I still remember sitting in the office in Sydney when I was being interviewed. I'm sitting looking out at the Opera House, wondering if I'm about to get back on a plane without a job or knowing I'm moving to Australia.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah. I cried actually when it happened. So it was the managing director of the Sydney office, and he sat down, he said, Tara, we would like to offer you this job. We'd be delighted for you to come to Australia. And I burst into tears.
What's your platform? What are you the most excited about? What do you feel are the urgent needs of the industry right now that you're out there to solve? Because you really strike me as the kind of person that's taking things by storm.
I mean, the big thing is about value exchange. And I think that's where we are really going to see the death of display. And maybe that's not going to be next year, but we are going to start to see less and less of these display ads around content. Branded content and editorial content, the line between those 2 things, I think is going to disappear.
Native advertising
entirely.
Yeah.
We won't have that line anymore. I think there will be 2 tiers of content: premium content that people pay for, that doesn't have brand involvement, but then a second tier that is free and is where the brands are fully integrated into it. And this means that brands will have far more influence on culture than they have today. So I think that's one change, but then related to that, this sort of death of display that I think will happen is not so much focused around user experience, but more so around user choice. I think people will choose 100% of what they are exposed to. They are not going to be suffering any kind of content, any kind of ad that they don't choose
Yes, so
to be
they're
exposed to.
that's where I was going to go next.
Yeah.
Is they're actually paying to be able to block things too.
Yes, exactly. So
Because it costs a little more. I think we spoke with Hulu the other day. It costs a little more to get the non-advertising version. Not everybody's signing up for it, but that's a choice that some people are making.
yeah, absolutely. And so we will basically, it's this idea that we will reward someone's time and attention with some sort of value. And I think that value exchange is already starting to become much more explicit. So if you read this piece of content that features XYZ brand, they're going to get something from it. It might be an idea. It might be just that it's funny and made them laugh. It might be that it gives them some social currency to talk to their friends about. Whatever it is, there will be some sort of value. And that's really what I'm focusing on at Wunderman. How do we help our clients think about, we call them content currencies, all the different currencies of value that they could be providing, and which ones are right for their audience and which ones are right for their brand.
So a prediction.
Well, a prediction that I see broadly around technology, this year what I've seen a lot of is around connected home. I think that
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. Next year, I think there will be a lot more on the health front. I actually think there wasn't that much that I saw this year that was really game-changing on the health front. But I think, actually, one startup that I've come across recently, and I don't think they're here, I haven't seen them here, is a biometric sensor that actually goes inside your body and measures all these things that are going on to help you decide what to eat and how much you should sleep and all of this sort of thing. And I mean, I think that's more of a 10-year vision for where that could end up going, where it could end up going with helping you select your job and your life partner and that type of thing. I think that we will see that with healthcare in the next year. Basically that biotech will go inside the body rather than being wearable tech.
You're definitely of the next generation of fantastically successful leaders. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's been really fun to spend
it.
time together.
Thank you.